millennials, like, I think if you look at my dad's generation, it was all about the house and the car and the white picket fence. And our generation wants experiences. So I think that's a big theme. It's more about financial freedom, I would say, than more about how to make money, if that makes sense.
No, of course it makes sense. But tell me more about that. Explain.
Yeah, so I think like I said, like my dad's generation wanted like all this stuff to show other people, whereas now how we're fulfilled is through experiences.
Well, let me in other words, I just want to. You're saying like that, like your dad's generation is probably my generation, not quite, but almost. But what it'd be like when I was growing up was like, okay, get a job at a company, work hard for 25 years,
get car,
a pension, house, burn the mortgage certificate, and retire with Social Security. Is that what you mean? Like that's
yes, and even I noticed too, like when women are carrying all these nice bags and all this jewelry, it almost ages you. And it does, because I talked to my sister who's 21, and I strategically hired a 21-year-old because I want to continue to be on the pulse.
Sure.
And what she wants to do is she wants to go to Korea, or she wants to go travel. She doesn't care about what kind of purse she's wearing.
We try to get people to question their own beliefs. Like, are you getting this stuff and doing these acts because it's what you really want to do, or are you doing it because it's what you think people will think is cool about you, right? And so we try to get people to step back and say, wait a minute, do I really want this job? Do I really want this house? Do I really want this stuff? Do I really want to pursue this career? And at the core of it, if our show can point out, wait a minute, I actually don't want to do it. I want to do this over here, my way. And I'm not doing it to appease my parents or to impress my friends or to impress or to stun on social media. I'm doing it because I actually want to do it. I think that's the biggest message behind our show is like, you can do that for yourself. It's not a selfish thing, actually. I
totally understand.
And I think by pointing that out to people and showing that as an example, I think that's what millennials are interested in. So when you talk about, are they interested in finance? Like, sure, people want to make more money, and there's a certain level that you need to make in order to make your basic needs met. But at some point, after you've got your basic needs covered, it's like the other stuff just becomes more stuff on top of it. And if you don't figure out what to do with those finances and how to categorize them and how to figure out what you're actually pursuing, it leads to a lot of unhappiness. And so most of the financial conversations on our show are more about like, okay, yes, this is a way to make it, but now that you've made it, what do you want to do with it?
I also think, like, let's be honest right now, like right now in 2019, the currency is time. Time is so important. So Uber, Postmates, Glam Squad, while you do your emails, all these things to me is what I'm spending my money on.
Glam Squad? What's that?
Like, I will get my makeup done while I return an hour of emails. What I spend my money on, like, for instance,
what is Glam Squad?
Glam Squad, they come to your house and do your hair and makeup, so you don't have to do it, so you can get work done. So I'll work on my phone. I think our generation does not want to waste time either. So we're also not only spending our money on experiences, we're spending our money on time. And if you can go in an Uber and you can work on your phone for an hour, that's efficient. And if you can go home and, do a blog post while your Postmates is dropping off your food instead of cooking, that's efficient. So our generation too is also about being super efficient with our time. They're not spending money on bags and Louboutins. It's a different climate right now, I think.
So let me tell you my perspective, because you guys haven't been through this, right? You're just too young. I grew up in an era where there was no email, no cell phones. In fact, when I started Stratton, there was no computers. I mean, we had mainframes, and then you had the first early stage desktops that did nothing. They were just not usable yet, right? And in fact, I remember one of my junior partners bought a desktop. We made fun of him. We're like, what the fuck? Look at that show. You're looking at that. What's that stupid? Was a screensaver. What's all you hypnotized by the triangles going around? We thought it was the stupidest thing ever, right? When cell phones first came out, I had one of the first cell phones in my car when I was 21. Got the first bill, it was like $2,000. I ripped it out. It was very expensive back then, right? And then I didn't have them for years. Then when they started coming back in like mid-90s and stuff, I was late to the game. But let me tell you what's really happened, though. People will say to me, I don't understand how you ran a business, how you were productive before there was email and cell phones and text. How'd you get it all done?
Have they met you?
What?
Have they met you?
But no, let me tell you. I want you to think about this, right? I'll tell you the difference. Back then, you knew you couldn't get in touch with people outside of work hours. You weren't expected to. You didn't expect to have emails answered or texts returned. So what happened is everything got condensed into those work hours.
So you're more productive.
So work became work and free time became free time. What I see, the biggest problem I see for myself and everyone around me right now is that technology has allowed work to spill over into your personal life, where I'm in fucking bed at night and I can't, and it's a terrible thing to do, and I'm watching TV with my wife and I'm returning emails and texts because they're there and you feel obligated, or just it's burning on your mind when you just simply didn't have that option and everyone knew it. So what happened was you'd walk in the morning and 9 a.m., that phone starts ringing, it'd ring all day long, you return calls. You understand?
You're hustling, yeah.
It was a compressed way of doing business. What are your thoughts about it? Do you see what I'm saying? What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's a difficulty, right? We grew up. We didn't get a cell phone until we were getting out of college. In terms of like a cell phone,
I disagree with you that it's a difficulty.
It's a difficulty for people that can't contextualize when to turn it on and when to turn it off, right? Like I catch myself all the time. I get up at 5 a.m. and I'm checking emails.
Yeah,
like,
but we can go on vacation for 3 weeks because of the cell phone.
Sure.
So like you can say that it's a difficulty, but it's also a positive.
It can be listen. It's a tool. Social media is a tool. That's
Like
a tool.
anything else, a
like
powerful
anything
weapon.
else. Yeah, and you can use it in the right way and you can use it in the wrong way.
It's again wrapping this whole conversation. You can use it in the right way or use it in the wrong way.
Do you think so? Do you think there should be do you think that people should try to set boundaries for themselves with like how much time do you spend on work related stuff when you're not working? How much time do you spend on social media versus real interactions? Like, do you think there's any? I have a couple problems with social media as an old person.
Yeah, no, tell me.
Okay, the number one problem, which I think is going to, if it isn't addressed and changed very quickly, it's going to destroy our world as we know it. And that is the echo chamber of the way news is now distributed.
Yeah, Mark Manson has a whole book about
the algorithms, they show you more and more of what they think you want to see. So every liberal and every conservative, you constantly get
too
skewed.
much content.
Well, you get skewed to what you end up in an echo chamber with like-minded thinkers, and you start thinking that everybody is thinking the same. You don't see.
Sure.
It was a professor that did a study. She formed 2 profiles on Facebook, and she acted as a conservative on one and a liberal on the other. Within 2 weeks, you could not recognize the news feeds. Completely.
But here's what I would say. I would say that you're in control of that. So what I do is I monitor my content. And how I do that is I only watch 3 people's Instagram story. I do not watch anyone else. And the 3 people I watch are bringing value to my life in health, wellness, and beauty. And then when I see something on my feed that's political that I don't want to see, whether it's whatever it is, I'll unfollow it and I won't see it again. You have to really be you have to go into your content and be a practitioner and make sure it's edited to how you want it. If I see something negative on my Facebook feed that I don't like, I unfollow. Never see it again.
Yeah, there has to be some human responsibility here, where people just they take some accountability on this type of content they consume. If you
is it all that though, or you think that there also needs to be? Is there some responsibility for these platforms right now to say, hey, there's a problem here. Like the country, guys, you're too young for this. The country has never been like it is right now. It was not
divided.
This divided. It wasn't like this.
I think it's a slippery slope if you have the platform start to police, because then who's in charge of what gets policed, right? Like then it's up to a human.
No, I don't mean police. I'm not going to cut you off. Let me explain what I mean. I'm talking about is what they do now is they show you what they think you want to see.
The algorithms, yeah.
And what I'm saying is that someone that's a liberal stops seeing conservative viewpoints.
Yep.
Oh,
and,
that's okay.
And a conservative stops seeing liberal viewpoints.
Well, these
and
algorithms
the truth typically lies in the middle.
These algorithms were built to market to us, right?
Exactly.
Like that's what they were.
Exactly.
And so as long as you can understand that contextually and understand you're being marketed to, and the stuff that does well in marketing is usually the stuff that's the most negative, the worst for your mind.
Yes.
But that's why I'm saying the human being needs to step in and say, wait a minute, should I actually be consuming this? And there's so many people that can't do that.
That's the problem.
Like
I wonder. I'm not saying I have a solution as much as that. I'm very concerned about it because I'm looking for reasons why Donald Trump is not the devil, nor is Hillary Clinton the devil. There, everyone's 2 sides of the same coin. You love me. That's not the point. The point is that Republicans and Democrats, conservatives, people used to talk and have healthy conversations, right? And I wouldn't say it's the only time the country's been this divided. It was in like in the 60s when there was the massive, Vietnam, right? And there was a righteous wrath back then too. But there's something, the difference now is that I think also there's a lot of unqualified people giving out news right now with it's just, I don't have an answer. I'm just wondering what you guys think about it.
I don't like that you have to be one or the other. I don't, I could be fiscally conservative and very socially liberal. Right?
That's me.
Yeah, that's how I am.
I'm
But,
sure.
but if you,
Most enlightened people are.
but you cannot, the problem I have is that I don't want to have to identify as a liberal or a conservative. I want to be able to come to a rational decision on my own. And I don't like that there's two political parties.
I couldn't agree with you more.
That's the problem, right? But you have to kind of be one or the other now. And that's the problem with where we are in the country is
with
that
labels.
Yes, with labels.
When you meet average people are great. I don't think we're as divided as they make us feel we are.
They're only gonna they're gonna only report one extreme or the other because that's where the dollars are, right? And it's all driven by ratings, and that's where and that's how you earn revenue.
I bet you on your platform, there's like half conservatives, half. I think it doesn't matter. I think people are so much more alike than they're trying to make us feel like we are right now, and something's got to give right now. I don't know. I don't have the answer, but you guys have this sort of, it's like a very beautiful, pristine thing you have, right? It's an apolitical, sans hatred place where mostly women, but men too, can come and basically just feel empowered, right? It's all about feeling empowered and good, bettering yourself.